Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today for an impromptu video. I've been watching, there's this YouTube channel that releases full-length movie commentaries, and I think that it's really, excuse me, sorry. Excuse me. I just got back from my birthday dinner. I went to this place called Tokyo Grill, which is like a Japanese buffet, and I ate everything. I ate fucking everything there, man. Like I'm so like and honestly, like the sad thing is I could have eaten more. Not like physically, like I was so full I probably would have thrown up, but like there's just so many cool things there and shit, and there were things that I got too where I only ate like one bite or two, and it's like I wish that or I don't know, I don't know, but anyways, it was a great birthday dinner. It was definitely a great choice and very fun. You know, I've actually never been to a buffet on my birthday. So, anyways, that's beside the point. I've been watching movie commentaries, and this YouTube channel is really helpful because I don't own a lot of movies, and probably I should get started on like getting more physical copies of older movies, because nowadays they don't even do movie commentaries anymore. They don't do anything. You know, they don't even do like special features or anything because they're so anti-physical media, and they don't see the purpose in doing that kind of thing anymore, unfortunately. I think that whenever I do a movie, I'm going to have some sort of like a thing in my contract that says there must be like special features and a commentary with every movie that I do, because I just think that movies that don't have commentaries are ridiculous. If one of the actors doesn't want to do it for some reason, like if they don't want to do a commentary, then that's their thing, you know, but I'm sure other people on the cast and crew would like to do it, or someone else, you know, like I've seen, which I think has probably been one of the best commentaries, Quentin Tarantino do a commentary of Hot Fuzz with, I think, Edgar Wright, and that was a really good commentary. Probably one of my favorite ones. Anyways, I was watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre commentary, and they were talking about how apparently there were people who thought that Leatherface was real, and they thought that the movie was inspired off of a true story that was like exactly like the movie. You know, they didn't think it was about Ed Gein, or they didn't think that it was inspired by something that, you know, wasn't really like that at all. You know, they thought it was real. They thought it was a real thing and real people. And, you know, it just, that sounded like such an interesting idea, because it's not like with Halloween. Like with Halloween, you got Michael Myers. He's a slasher character. He's like a force of nature, whatever. You got Jason Voorhees. He's a force of nature, supernatural killer. He's not. He started off as like a campfire tale character, is like a mythical character, but then he got morphed into another force of nature. Freddy Krueger is like a demon, I guess you could say, but none of them are really like Leatherface and the Sawyer family. The way that, you know, you have that crazy, evil, cannibal family in the middle of nowhere. You don't really have many characters like that, or at least many of like the iconic mainstream like horror movie characters. Like maybe Hills Have Eyes could be a little bit like that, but nah, they're mutants more so. So with that idea, it actually reminded me of when I was a kid. I thought that Leatherface was real too. I thought that whole story was real as well. I I saw this YouTube video, which was like the opening of the remake. And it was the part where, the police officers going down to the basement to show a tour of the Hewitt family residence. And I thought from that video that Leatherface was actually real, because this was back when YouTube was like the Wild West. And YouTube was like, it was insanely awesome. It was like the greatest place on earth, basically, or one of the greatest places on earth. And, it was so free, and it was just full of art, artistic expression, awesome content, nothing like it is now. Now it's just a piece of shit place, piece of shit website with piece of shit people who YouTube promotes, and then everyone else, they're like, fuck you. But, yeah, like, the channel made it seem like, oh, this is real footage of the real Leatherface. And so I actually thought for a while that it was real. And I thought, you know what? Instead of doing what they did with Texas Chainsaw, which is the most recent one, they kind of tried to Halloween 2018 it. I thought that it was really good because I really liked how they made Leatherface really powerful to where he just killed everyone in that movie. And I just thought it was awesome the way that they made his character. They really brought his character up to the point of where he could be up there with Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy. But the problem is with that movie is just like with all the other recent stuff, is like every single character in these horror movies has to be the same. Every single one has to be a force of nature. Every single one has to be so indestructible and just completely OP and just not really human. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre is all about the human. It's all about, there's this crazy, creepy, evil family in the middle of nowhere in Texas, and you could believe that they're real. The movie was so good, you could have believed that that was a real thing, that that was a real story. It was like something that actually happened, that movie. It was like something where you're just sitting there watching something that actually occurred on screen. So why not take that idea and make that the movie? Just like the Blair Witch Project. You started off as a documentary. You got these people going around in Texas. You could make it really authentic. You could hire local people in Texas. Not even actors, just random people. They did that with the movie Bernie, and it was highly effective. People really liked that movie, even though I hated it because it kind of sympathized with a killer who, is really I didn't believe the sympathetic story that they gave him. I didn't believe it at all. But going around asking, like, oh, was this a real story? Was Leatherface real? Like, that would be a really, really interesting story. You could meet all sorts of crazy, weird people. You could go into, like, prisons and talk to, like, different, like, prisoners saying, like, I was cellmate with the man who was known as Leatherface for a while before he escaped. And, like, you could have stuff like that, and it would build, like, this mystery of, like, ooh, was there really this character? Was there, like, a Sawyer family in Texas back in the 70s or whatever? And then, boom. Same like with Blair Witch. People go out in Texas in the middle of nowhere to try to find this the Sawyer family. They go to, like, abandoned buildings and get chased out by crazy, like, landowners with shotguns. They go around a slaughterhouse. They get, like, chased into a slaughterhouse or something. Like, you could make this really, really creepy, visceral, straight up 1970s feeling, It would feel like the first movie. It wouldn't feel like any of the other movies in the entire series. Not because you're ripping off Blair Witch Project, but because you're making it feel like a human story with human characters, human bad guys, human problems. And then that's where you get to the point to where I would have to write a script to figure it out, because maybe that is when they would come across the real Sawyer family. And things would get insane. They would get gruesome. Not gruesome on screen. And that's another thing. This is another key part of what I would want with this movie. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre hardly had any blood in it at all. That's why it was so effective. That's why it was so scary. That's what I would want with this movie. Take away all the blood, take away all the chainsaw massacring, and make it visceral, make it real, and make it just terrifying. I want it to feel like a nightmare. I want it to feel like you feel like you're there in the middle of nowhere. There's no one that can save you, and you're trying to get away from this crazy, evil family. And maybe you could even have it be a twist to where, is this the real Sawyer family? Was there ever a real Sawyer family? Is this just another crazy family in Texas or something? And I think the key thing to figure out would be Leatherface himself. Because I think that the Leatherface character that they created in the original movie has never been in any of the other movies. I don't think that any other movie in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series really understood the character that they created in that first movie. I know obviously Tobe Hooper made the second one, but that was more like a comedic movie. It was a joke. It was a complete joke. And I feel like that character being like how he was in the first movie, wow, you would have an A+ sequel. That's what I would want them to do. And I would like to make it. I would love to make this movie. This is exactly the type of movie that I'd like to make, because I feel so strongly about the fact that this movie would be the greatest Texas Chainsaw sequel that you could possibly do now. You know why? Because it wouldn't be like the modern Texas Chainsaw like they did with Texas Chainsaw 3D, where, you had all the modern characters and the modern issues. It would be, let's take normal people who aren't like TikTok losers, and let's throw them in the middle of nowhere and see what happens. And let's just make it scary as hell. Let's take away all the spectacle. Let's take away all the amusement park bullshit, the sequels and remake and prequel, and let's make it like that first movie. Make it with a rock bottom budget in the middle of nowhere, and it would be the best. So that's my pitch for a Texas Chainsaw sequel. It all hinges around the idea, was Leatherface real? Was the Sawyer family real? Obviously, we know they weren't real, but wouldn't that be a really cool idea to explore in a movie? Because this is the movie universe. You could really treat it like, was it real? That would be something really interesting to, just get into as, a Blair Witch kind of, documentary style movie. So anyways, please like this video and comment and tell me if you think this is a good idea. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more awesome, honest videos like this. And if you don't like the pitch, tell me what you'd like to see in a Texas Chainsaw sequel, because I just thought of this and I was like, you know what? I gotta make a video about this. I know that other people, maybe other people have thought about this before, but I thought that this would be the best thing to do with these characters.